Well, it's scary to think your loved one might have Alzheimer's disease or another type of dementia, but if the problem isn't addressed, it can only get worse.
Missy O and Diana, some know her as Peterson, otherwise it's Bloomhorst.
Correct.
Got that correct. From Edgewood Senior Living, here to talk about some tips on how to start a very difficult conversation, or it can be for some, talking about dementia with parents and elders. So to both of you, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is a tough conversation, so I guess let's just, where do you start, and how early, I think maybe is the big question people would have, is when do I start to have this conversation with them?
I don't think there is a such thing as too early. Even if there isn't a diagnosis, if there isn't a gene predisposition, I think it's the best to talk with your loved one, what their wishes are when they're young, healthy, and when they are cognitive and they're able to make their needs known.
But some might say to you, yeah, but you know, I will have no idea what that actually is going to be like, and it might be a lot different than I think it is when I'm healthy, and so how do you balance that?
You know, because it's hard to know, because there is no one case. It's a very gray area. It can affect, someone could live with it for 10, 20 years and not have the, you know, the major causes or effects, and some can only have it for a few years and are not the person that their loved ones remember and do pass away young. So that's a very hard thing, and it's a very uncomfortable situation, and that's when I would encourage you to really bring in your physicians, other people, because it is very difficult to have that conversation.
There's some cues that people have too that you can see with your family members. If there's stressors that they never used to have before, if they're forgetting things that, you know, 2, 3, 4 times a week. You know, we always we forget things here and there. All of us do. But there are things that if it's 2, 3, 4 times a week, or if it's interrupting their regular schedule, then that might be sometimes just the little cues to look at that they might be having some issues to take a look at. And like Diana said, going to your physician, talking to people that are experts in this area.
So I recently was around somebody that they did a couple things that were outside of the norm for them, and they were like, gosh, I never forget that, or I never do that. It happened maybe 2 times in 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, is that what you're talking? Is that a legitimate place?
That's a definite place to start if you're having those things. Those are times and places to talk with your physician, talk with experts in the area to see what might be an issue. There's some areas that you were talking about, that some things that...
You know, one of the big indicators is when they start forgetting simple tasks, such as getting a gallon of milk or something else, they start to cover it up that they forgot it. They might make up a lie that it's like, why would you lie about that? But they realize that they're becoming more forgetful. And then it starts to advance to where they almost get paranoia, almost get aggressive, and their whole mood and behavior might change. They might not know where they put their car keys, and instead of realizing they might have forgot, they start accusing people. Well, why would you move my keys? Why did you steal them?
Oh.
And that is when it starts to progress a little bit more. But those are signs where people don't always, you know, correlate it with this disease. They think that, well, mom's being weird, maybe she needs an antidepressant or something. But it's really because it's the beginning stages, and they're starting to lose more touch with reality.
And people sometimes are embarrassed to talk about things, so they try to hide things. So if you have open communication with your loved ones and have the conversation, but then bring in experts, that's what's really important.
How common is it that it is being misdiagnosed by family members as, instead of dementia, thinking of it as, oh, they must be, you know, going through seasonal depression right now or something else?
It's extremely common. And even those that are diagnosed, there's so many more that are going undiagnosed because they don't seek help from their doctor.
Wow. All right, stick around. We're going to talk much more about this right after this quick break.